Hello, chat. Welcome to the Roomba of Thought. This week we had, I thought we had technical difficulties, so I was thinking that we were not going to stream, but in the end, nothing happened. Everything's a-okay. I just need a moment because I need to get a couple of things done. You get out of here. Garage. Yeah, I can work with this. And then, don't mind me, just give me a minute. Just need a minute. Bum 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 bum. And alright, let's go say hello to the people. I mean, when we're talking evolution sizes, let's go talk to the peeps. Because, ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let everything load, please. I swear to God. Okay. There we go. There we go. Everyone's loaded in. Let's go say hello to the group.
It's actually drawn at its proper size because there's a clip on, there's a picture of it from the manga on the Wikipedia page where it's actually being used like a horse. This is a big lad.
Big boy.
What are we talking about? Who's big?
We were talking about the actual sizes of Pokemon, specifically the evolutions and Absol. The fact that like nobody ever draws them like the correct size. Especially the evolutions. Like Eevee's usually drawn about the right size. It's a little boy. But all the other evolutions, the smallest of the evolved evolutions are Jolteon and Glaceon.
Mm-hmm.
Which are both still taller than a Great Dane.
Oh.
By a decent amount.
Anyway,
and
why you
also
put me on the
Absol, who's
box?
a bit taller for. Anyway, yes. Bolt is now on box.
Yes, he is now the Pichu on a box. Oh, Pichu of the box, what is your wisdom?
Needs the box. Make sure the Roomba doesn't.
Exactly, because he's small.
He's very tiny.
He's
Or will I just become the Chew of Comfort or whatever?
You
Is that
are-
what's going on over
you
there?
are the Peach.
wisdom. What is your wisdom today?
You are the Pichu of the box. I wanted to add something to the box, so I'm gonna add something to the box.
Pichu of the
It's not-
box,
Okay, so
spread me
give
your
us the
wisdom,
wisdom
right?
then.
Eh?
I am pondering this die on a daily basis while moon staring at you. That's my wisdom.
Anyway.
So,
How's everyone's week going?
Very tired.
all right.
Yeah,
it was
I've-
fine.
Mostly things are going well, except one class whose the instructor refuses to write instructions for assignments that make any sense at all.
That's gotta
for-
preach.
Well, for example,
That's
one of the
pretty
assignments, the first assignment we had last week that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, she says, begin by doing this. And I'm like, where? This is an IT class, and we've got a whole bunch of like virtual machines and stuff that we're doing stuff on. Just, I'm like, where? Where do we do this? On what machine? You don't... anything.
So, like,
Nothing's explained, and the next assignment, just says, look for this thing and do it. And then Search and Found, like, wasn't properly listed and everything, what's actually supposed to be the first one, and it just says, before you begin, make sure you have this on your VM. It doesn't say anything else or anything, it's just...
Professor like that back when I was at community college. She was supposed to be our digital drawing teacher
Mm-hmm.
because she was she worked in the media. She worked for news stations, designing all of their stuff. And when she was in our class, she just read out of a textbook, and she's like, "Okay, the book says to do this," and we all just dicked around in the class because it was so clear she didn't know what the fuck how to teach it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's very frustrating when you want
Understandable.
to do well in a class.
I would
the
like to
class-
point out...
Sorry, the class started with like 20 people, and it was down to a final 5 during the end. At the end of the semester, because people just gave up.
I mean, I would like to
Oh,
point out this
shit.
teacher that I have right now, teacher I
Mhm.
have right now is the only teacher I've ever had in all my years of school who I've ever actually failed a class.
Ugh. I'm sorry, dude.
That's even worse, dude.
Like I've gotten like a D4 in like a math class just because one, that teacher wasn't great as well, and two, I don't math good. But this guy, I legitimately got an F in one of his classes. It's the only time.
I somehow passed that professor I was talking about with an A because she gave us an A just for showing up. Just because we didn't leave the classroom one time because she took over an hour to get to class.
Oh.
So you know
That's,
that rule that everybody passes around. If she doesn't show up in 15 minutes legally, we can leave.
Yeah.
We took it because it was an hour before she actually got to this class, and she got mad at everybody else. My friends and I just kind of hung out in front of the door because we didn't have anything better to do. We had classes later after too. And she's like, "You're not supposed to leave until I dismiss you," and something like that.
It's a college class.
It's a college class, and I don't know.
That explains a bit.
College class. We're not even legally required to be there to begin with.
So she just gave us A's for showing up that day, and I don't think we had anything really due for a final.
I've now decided that Bolt's box is a box.
We just talked
it's a
about
box
JoJo
of
in that
milk.
class, because that's in the JoJo expansion. Expansion started.
Is that a freaking Pokemon Weeb version milk tank you've just put on it?
Yep.
It's a Moemon thing.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Pokemon Weeb
It's a
version.
move. It's a box
It's a
of milk.
box of Moo Moo milk.
Exactly. It's an empty
No,
box of
it's
Moo Moo milk. I mean, I thought it looked better than just an empty box.
It would look better if the brownish part around the edge was actually color matched to the rest of the box.
I'll
But
probably do that after stream. I can do that after stream. Oh yeah, I just wanted it to look
Yep.
better.
anyway,
Of course, Mina, good bonk.
I mean, she has a bonk emote. I have a spray emote. Together, the horny will.
Mina made.
Yeah.
That the Mina made by modifying a different emote that I used to spam a lot to make it be me spraying.
Eh,
All right. Let's see. What do we have on the box of ideas? Oh, get out of the way.
So we have we have to open the box. Oh, no, Jimmy, what you should do is instead of the bow, I just get like in like Comic Sans the idea box.
It's the idea box.
I'll take it up after stream. I'll get on.
Anyway,
It's a visual representation of the box.
just
we've got
Move that bolt
I
down.
just-
I just jumped down of it. The way you moved it just looked like I just hopped right.
the disaster that was Soviet submarine K-19. I'm asking Mina how she's legally able to perform an exorcism among other things. Followed by Kane putting the Jesus writing llama god Arceus.
I think we didn't talk about those. I think that's when it started.
You know,
Oh
that-
yeah,
that-
me
that's-
talking
that's-
about the pink tax, which I never knew it was an actual thing. Like what the fuck? Like
The dumb rules or laws that make no sense if you actually think about it, but are still really common. The United Auto Workers strike. Jimmy has a rant. The current risk of the U.S. government shutdown. Maybe it'll happen by Sunday. I
Today.
don't know. Yeah.
did
Did it
by,
happen?
9
Uh,
hours. No, we've narrowly avoided it by like 9 hours. We've extended it for a couple of days now.
Wait, what
which means
happened?
maybe we will still get to keep Fat Fuck Week.
That fuck week?
Yes.
Then there was. You guys talked a bit about something involving the Yandere dev. Mina shared that picture of the cursed food. Bolt said annoying siblings rant. I put those idiot vegans who think honey is somehow unethical.
Which is stupid.
Yeah. Oh,
They're wild bees, but
actually,
it's
let's start with that.
Let's
Let's start with
Start
those
with
idiot
bees.
vegans.
Yes,
Yeah, let's start with the bees. Because
Yes.
this one's gonna be relatively short. Because this is something I remembered seeing. It's like, yeah. It's like, as you may or may not be familiar with how veganism works, is if you're a vegan, it's supposed to be you do not eat any animal products, and some people don't even use animal products like that aren't like food. Like the step above vegetarian, where vegetarians you don't eat meat, vegans like you don't eat meat and you don't eat like eggs and stuff like that.
Or don't grab
You
wool.
don't no milk.
You don't
Wool
eat
is 50-50 because some of them were
Butter.
smart enough to realize that like shearing
There's vegans and there's
the
vegetarians.
sheep is like good for them, especially modern sheep that have been bred to have
Yeah.
so much extra wood. Yes, it's two different things. Vegans have a reputation for being kind of assholes about it, and like doing things like forcing it on like their cats and shit. Some of them just
Which
really
is
take the
bad.
holier than thou thing. But
Like that
then
vegan teacher, for instance. Like them.
the pinnacle, though, in my opinion, of the stupidity is the people who feel honey is like an unethical thing. Probably because they watched the Bee movie and thought it was a documentary. Because like honey, especially, is one that they have the least of it leg to stand on. Because like the thing with bees, like, is if the bees are not happy with like their situation, they'll just leave. They can do that. They can just fuck
Wait,
off.
offense in a bee.
If you're a shitty beekeeper, all your bees will just leave. They can do that. They choose to live in the box, knowing that every once in a while you come in and take some of their honey. Are fully aware of that and choose to stay there anyway. Because it's basically if you want to think of it in a way, it's basically the honey is they're paying you a tax in order for you to protect the hive from basically anything else. That's going to be a lot more destructive to the hive.
Some people.
Like, you know, some people fail to grasp it. Like the bee, it's not like bees are like a cow where it's kept in like the fence or whatever. No, the bee can just leave. Bees can leave. They do that.
Bees are constantly flying around.
Yeah.
And it's not like they have any gripes about leaving bees behind either. Bees don't have that type of morality.
Yeah.
Like if
Alright,
they were
moving
if we
on
were
from bees.
cultivating fucking wild bees, I'd understand. But no, we're not. We have quote unquote domesticated bees, where we have symbiotic relationships with.
Yeah. It's and if the bees feel like that relation is no longer in their favor, they'll just leave. They can do that. Because in order for them to, you know, actually be able to work, they have to be able to leave in order to go like pollinate and shit. Which then leads to like funny things. Yeah, or the funny location of the beekeeper who found all his bees' honey were suddenly random colors for some reason. Managed to figure out what it was. Is they were going over to the local M&M's factory and slurping up a bunch of the loose sugars that were there.
Sorry, what?
Bees can
That
take
was an
the
actual
sugars
story.
from anything, including M&M factories.
That was an actual story of a beekeeper who found out his bees' honey was weird colors and ended up managing to trace where they were going, and it turned out like there was like the M&M factory nearby that like was like leaking some sugars or whatever, and the bees were just.
That's kind of funny.
It's really funny.
Yep, sure is funny.
M&M flavored honey.
Could you imagine honey with chocolate?
It slaps more than regular honey though, because I don't really like regular honey.
I mean, a little bit. I like honey, but like little amounts.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't drink it in my tea, but I would definitely like have it as a.
I mean, I put sometimes some honey in my milk when I'm like feeling, especially when I'm feeling sick. I put some honey in the bowl of milk and I heat it up and then I'm like mix it. It feels really nice.
The thing with honey specifically is you want to, if possible, get local honey. One, because screw you, big corpos. Two, if you're someone who has allergies, assuming local honey in allergy season actually makes them not as bad.
Huh?
To my friend who's allergic to literally everything.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Dude, she loves Asian food. She has an allergy to sesame.
No!
It's very hard when we want to go out to eat with her. I love her to bits, and I would, you know, fighting to find the right restaurant that will cater to her needs is absolutely worth it. She's sweet as a head. She's a fantastic artist as well. Her name is Kire's Corner on Instagram if you want to go check out her art. But it's frustrating how many people you will call ahead, say, hey, I have a friend who has this and this allergy. Would you be able to accommodate us? They say yes, and then they don't.
And they don't.
Oh, no. Don't say yes if you mean no. Oh, that's pain.
Angie. That's when you start leaving the bad Yelp reviews.
Yes. That's when you do that. Just give them 1 star. Move on.
Specifically asked if they could do this thing when I called ahead, and then they didn't.
Exactly.
My friend could not eat.
Strange.
My friend could not eat. She could not even be in the same store. It's just the smell of sesame will trigger.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh.
Oh.
Ooh, no. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But speaking of the restaurants, Mina, you'd posted that picture.
Which were. Oh,
Uh,
right. So, as of 2 weeks ago, Panda Express now offers apple pie rolls,
Uh-huh.
which is just an egg roll with some apple slices in it. I am assuming there's also caramel sauce, and then they covered it in cinnamon and sugar like a churro.
That sounds kind of fucking
Yeah.
tasty. I'm not gonna lie.
It like I'm concerned that they felt the need to add a dessert, but I'm also curious about it.
Like that genuinely sounds pretty good. It also sounds like a caloric bomb, but you know that's
Like,
besides the point.
No,
try it.
it's Panda Express, Jimmy. It's it's Chinese inspired American food.
Exactly.
How many-
It's not in Spain,
Yeah.
so.
I posted a picture of it. Jimmy, do you want to bring it up?
Yeah, sure. I'll.
Thank you. But yeah, I was just in a Panda Express
take-
for the first time in fucking months because my parents are out of town and my mom can't shame me for it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just I was like in line. I saw the cream cheese rangoons. I'm thinking, should I get one for my brother? And then I decided no, because he's kind of a dick.
The chocolate ice cream refried beans cone. Do that.
Yeah. He is in fact my little brother.
Little brother.
And I just looked at it. I looked to the side at the egg rolls and I'm like, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
One of those.
Just putting a phone kazoo kit.
When I told you, I just stood there in shock for like a minute in line.
Oh, good heavens.
And so I asked the cashier about it, and she's just like, yeah, we've had that for about 2 weeks now. And I guess they're doing really well because there was only 2 left in there.
There we go. It is now shown on the Roomba. On the room.
But now I'm considering what they would taste like if I put like ice cream on it. You know?
Good lord.
No, it just sounds good to me, you know? But imagining like a crunchy crepe in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Because like as far as I know, they use like actual egg roll wrappings to do that. So let's see how that goes. My dog is starting to scream, so it's time for me to feed her. You all continue.
Alright, we'll continue for now without you. We'll see you in a moment, I hope.
See you in a bit.
Okay, so. Not me. Bo,
Yeah.
what you mad about? What the little too mad about?
Well, the event occurred yesterday, and I'm gonna be honest. Stuff like this is the reason why I sometimes just hate interacting with siblings. But then again, that's just how siblings is, I guess. So every other week, I decide to visit family to go home, catch up a little bit with how things are going and whatnot.
Yes.
But I'm still a student and I have assignments and whatnot. So I got there, and one of the first things that immediately came forward was being asked, like, "Oh, you should go at this time tomorrow and work on it." I'm like, bruh, don't. I understand that the concern is there. I understand that you want it, like you want to help me. I understand that you mean it in a good way, but you're my sibling. You're not my father. You're not telling me what I can and can't do at which time. You just don't do that. Then I just was like, alright, fine, can you just leave because I don't want to talk about this? I'm here for my enjoyment and just to relax, not to deal with stuff that I don't want to be concerned with at the moment because, you know, it's weekends, relax a bit. But he just kept asking and I just got annoyed and naturally frustrated to the point where I just had to mention it to the other family member who was at home, of course, and eventually they had to break it up because, my god, I was just not having that. Yeah, they later apologized for it, but still, having to deal with someone who acts like a parent is, to me at least, just so annoying.
Yep, I feel that.
Older sibling or a younger sibling?
Older.
I understand. See, I get both of this. 'Cause sometimes my brother, he's my younger sibling by like 3-4 years. And he'll try to tell me how to do stuff because I'm very childish in my behavior and mannerisms. But I generally know how to adult, so it's frustrating as hell.
Know how to adult.
Yeah. There are adultier adults than I, but I'm still an adult.
Yeah.
My brother is also an adult. But sometimes I'll have to do that to him as well because he has proven time and time again to not adult.
To not adult correctly.
Yes.
Not just not adult correctly, not adult
Ah,
at all.
Not at all.
You know,
I see.
like you still behave like you're in high school with no responsibilities, but no, you're an adult now.
Or like a SpongeBob.
Why y'all calling me out for real? For real?
Adult faster. Like you don't need to be an adult full time. You just know when to.
No, I mean, like, yeah, again, I have responsibilities
adulty
to get
stuff
on and
when
all
the time
and all
comes.
that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, you know,
Your free trial of life is expired when responsibilities hit you in the face.
I think it's also very different when you're depending on the country you're in, right? And your culture. What being the eldest child means, depending on whether you're female or male. I know in my family it meant that I had more responsibilities than my brother. And at 10 years old, I was babysitting him. And at 10 years old, he was still being treated like a baby.
I mean, I am the youngest one of the three, but you know,
You know? None.
I was treated.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
Bro, why you so mean? You say that,
I'm
but
not
we've
being
we've all been treated like semi-equally.
It might, like, you know, when you're the learning curve and you're just not kind of bitter about it, although that is it's true. You're just like, man, what the fuck?
What the fuck, even?
Okay. I've just found one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Uh huh.
It's somehow worse than you know how like last year there was the Russian aircraft that accidentally downed a U.S. drone by running into it over the Black Sea.
Yeah.
I found something even dumber.
Oh.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure exactly when this was because the stuff I'm seeing on it doesn't include it, but it was a pair of Chinese jets were harassing an American signal intelligence aircraft of some kind. It was like propeller driven, turboprop, and one of the Chinese planes, and they're just flying close past it, and then one of the Chinese jets runs into the turboprop. And this is the Wikipedia screenshot for the incident that's like the strength and all that. Yeah. Strength. US, that aircraft. China, two aircraft. Casualties and losses. Americans, 1 damaged and captured aircraft. Chinese, 1 jet destroyed, 1 pilot presumed missing, dead. Like, wow. Like, literally ran into the engine of big plane. 3. Yeah, this is just a big 4-engined big old plane. From our Lord and Savior Lockheed Martin, producer of all. Yeah. Basically, I think it's like a maritime patrol aircraft that just the Japanese, no, not the Japanese, the Chinese were just buzzing with jets as they're known to do, and then one of them ran into it, just running into one of the engines, and was forced to land because it had just been run into.
Fucking grade A
I mean,
plan.
Like, I was reading the description, I was like, yeah, it's destroyed that one engine, shredded the Japanese, the Chinese plane, just got shredded. Some of its parts got jammed into some of the control surfaces of the American plane. One of the antennas on the American plane snapped off and got tangled around the tailplane. And the cabin at least partially depressurized.
Bruh.
Bruh,
He really got shredded like paper mache, huh?
I know you're trying to do the close passes, like, bust it and annoy them, but you're not supposed to get that close! Oh my god. Anyway, moving on from that stupidity.
To the surprise of absolutely nobody.
Bolt, did you get to your sibling rant too,
He
or
just
did
got
only
it.
I
Mina
already
do
went
that?
to that.
Alright.
I just moved through that.
So,
This shit.
could we talk about the stupidity that is one of the current U.S. presidential candidates?
That's why I said this shit. Because you literally sent the picture saying this shit.
Yeah, this shit. It's a screenshot of a whole bunch of news articles reporting on it. So one of the current U.S. presidential candidates, who is, and I'm gonna quote, my mother's opinion on him. He is a nut job. Is campaigning on ending birthright citizenship.
There. You
There's
see two
a
of
whole
them.
bunch of different, like, people saying specifics on it, but I'm pretty sure this is specifically for the illegal immigrants is what he's campaigning on, because the U.S. Red Party really likes shitting on that group.
People like my parents.
They currently feel like illegal immigration is like the most important thing in the world, apparently,
But
other
we
than
don't
the
have other
economy,
shit to
obviously.
worry about instead.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
probably going to work in the past. Why isn't it working now?
Because past the law was basically, oh, you showed up and you like got here on your own, or had someone else pay for it that wasn't the government. Cool. So long as you don't have the plague, welcome in. Now there's like fuck tons of paperwork and shit that's a mess. Depending on where you're from, there's like a big queue to get in. Basically, I think the queue for like from India is like decades
Because,
long.
you know, some of the departments refuse to upgrade from physical papers.
Also, there's like limits on the amount that like the U.S. will let in from certain places. Is a mess, and the reason like the immigration from the southern border is like the big problem is because if you show up like in person, it's much easier to do that via the southern border. There's a different thing you're able to claim that can basically bypass some of the other rules. It's just a huge mess, and I would like to point out, I've pulled up the Wikipedia page for the U.S. birthright citizenship, which, by the way, is literally written into the Constitution. It's part of the text of the 14th Amendment. Applies to any under U.S. Under current interpretation of the law, a person is a U.S. Citizen if a person is born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. A person is born in the United States to a member of an indigenous tribe, because that was originally not included because it wasn't technically jurisdiction or whatever. That's been amended. Person is of unknown parentage, found in the United States while under the age of 5, until shown prior to attaining the age of 21 years not to have been born in the U.S. The person is born in an outlying possession of the United States. Parents, one of whom is a citizen, has been physically present in the United States or one of its outlying possessions for a continuous period of at least one year at any time prior to the birth of such person. Basically, the only exceptions to birthright citizenship in the U.S. are the children of foreign ambassadors and people born in American Samoa.
Thing not gone through, I would have not been a U.S. citizen. I think that's the funniest part. I'm as white as they come. I'm still Hispanic. I would not be a U.S. citizen if this guy's plan had gone through back in the 90s.
It's just dumb. And what it is it's literally just fear mongering, because
Way to tell
people being
everybody you're
assholes.
an asshole.
Tell people you're racist. It's about telling people you're racist.
Oh,
It's just causing a problem where there is no problem. It's distracting from
It's
the
literally,
problem where
they're complaining
have
about a
to-
problem. It's government officials complaining about a problem of the government's own creation. And their solution to it is to try and clamp down on it instead of just resolving the problem. If they actually resolve the problem, they can't keep campaigning on it year after year after year. And I think one of the most telling things is, like, some of the people who are, like, most opposed to this, like, policy, like the people who actually, like, live at the southern border, like the people who are most upset about the policy, even if they're like hardcore like members of Team Red, they're like, no, I live here. You're just being assholes about it. Especially some of the more extreme policies that are coming from like ridiculously far away. I mean, it's literally a problem of the U.S. government's own creation. Especially since a lot of the people who are like migrating are coming from countries that the U.S. government has fucked up. Because the CIA can't stop staging coups in Latin America.
It's reaping the consequences of their own actions, and they hate it.
Oh well, if it isn't the consequence of my own actions. Speaking of which, isn't there currently a U.S. senator who's being charged with like actually taking bribes?
I don't remember which one. I know that one of them has passed
It's the
away
guy
recently.
from New Jersey.
Chris Christie?
Oh, I don't know. It's.
I think it's Chris Christie.
I don't know. Some guy. I don't know. I don't really care.
Fuck
It's just,
Chris
oh yeah,
Christie.
he's actually being
Here,
charged
Donald
for his act.
Trump.
I actually saw a video talking about it. It's like, yeah, apparently this is the second time he's been charged for stuff. The first time he got off because of a hung jury. Like, even though it was so fucking obvious, like reading like the stuff is like so blatant. It's just politicians are allowed to get away with so much. Allowed to get away with so much because they've written and interpreted the law to basically mean, yeah, basically unless it's basically just the most explicit thing imaginable, like the most blatant, like beyond blatant, like corruption.
So
you're not allowed to charge them for it. Meanwhile, if you're like a low-level government person and you take more than like a $20 gift, you're basically, you can be fired for that. Corruption. Meanwhile, these people are like, yeah, I'm getting private jet flights, I'm getting literal fucking gold.
One guy took me out to lunch once. That was nice.
Amy, he let me keep the Lamborghini.
Extremely lavish. But it was just lunch.
Took me on a private jet flight to Epstein's Island. Anyway, moving on from stupid politicians being fucking stupid. Alright. You know, what the hell's Fat Bear Week?
Jimmy, you wanted to say something?
Nope.
Or you had a topic?
Nope, not for now.
Okay,
let's
let me
take a
look
look
at Fat
at
Fuck
the
Week.
idea box again.
Alright.
What else?
How
would we
about
have?
while Mina's looking up specifics for Fat Bear Week, I'm gonna talk about the U.S. government shutdown stuff. Oh, Taco Bell ad. Uh,
Well, sounds pretty good,
ads,
actually.
ads.
Yeah.
Okay, I pulled it up. But do you want to preface it with the government
Yes,
shutdown?
I'll preface it because it was related. All right. So for the Europeans,
Like me.
yeah, like Bolt and Jimmy over there on the right side of the room. Uh, so I'm waiting for the ad to finish. All right, the ad's finished. So the U.S. government has been at risk of what is known as a government shutdown, which is basically the
Again.
opposite of the debt limit. Opposite of the debt limit. They're sort of the same, but sort of different. So the U.S. debt limit is a stupid ass thing where the government's only allowed to borrow so much money, and Congress is allowed to change it, and Congress also sets the budget. So, but they refuse to set it low enough that this isn't a problem. And then they somehow always end up blaming the president for it, even though the president's legally required to spend the money that Congress has told him to spend. Anyway, the government shutdown is like the opposite of that, where instead of the government's reaching the limit of how much is allowed to borrow, it's government is reached the end of what it has borrowed, and Congress is basically debating whether or not they should actually go and borrow more, even though they're allowed to. It's just stupid because apparently Congress is the one who has controls of that.
Yeah, Congress controls the power of the purse, and they've just been stingy bitches.
Yeah, and usually when this happens, like nearly every time government shutdowns come closer, it actually happened. It's been because the legislative branch and Congress and the president have some kind of disagreement on some policy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's just Congress trying to get the president to shut the fuck up or whatever about his policy that costs money because they have the power of the purse. But this time is different because it's literally just because the current Speaker of the House cannot control his own party. It's one of the groups in the... Obviously, the United States is a two-party system because it's shit like that. You have Party Red and Party Blue.
Yes, you have right and more right.
Yes. So Party Red currently is in control of the House of Representatives, which is the lower house of Congress. They have like the slimmest of majority. It's like 1 or 2 people. All right. It's and the problem is that there are like subdivisions kind of within the parties, especially the Red Party. You've got basically the people in the Red Party who have some semblance of morality and those that don't. And it's basically split between the people who are basically the hardline, like Trump won the last election, we should impeach Joe Biden, blah 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 blah, and the people are like, no, that's stupid. Let's actually do our fucking jobs, and like focus on like actually winning the next election. You assholes. You have no case to impeach the president. You're just making shit up. And basically the hardliners are basically holding the entire federal government hostage and saying, under the threat of like, do what we want, Speaker. It took you like 20 votes to actually be approved as Speaker. Well, if you don't do what we want, we're gonna submit motion to replace you as the Speaker. Blah blah blah. It's literally just them being assholes about it instead of doing their job as the government.
So they're acting
think
like
the
children.
only-
They're
Yes.
literally choosing violence instead of doing what they were chosen to do and debate. What was it? Diplomatic about their shit.
If I remember right, the only reason like the temper thing came through is like, all right, shut up. All right, Party Blue, will you vote for this bill? And they're like, "I'd like this one thing, and we'll do it." And I'm like, cool, done. And got like 45 more days of funding, so they can probably do this again in 45 days.
Yep.
Because
I hate that no one in Congress has enough balls to say, all right, you're out of line for this shit. Goodbye. You know, because they're being voted in by constituents, and I don't even know how.
Well, the problem is, Mina, is that there are people who have been. There are multiple people in U.S. Congress who have been in their current positions since before Optimus Prime was released as a character.
Yeah. There really
Or-
needs to be an amendment for a term limit.
Well, actually, most of those people are in the House.
Christ. Ah, also true. Thank you.
You just put term limits on Congress people. Come on,
We have term
Jimmy.
limits for the president.
Yeah.
Literally only the president. All right, Europeans. Does your legislative bodies have term limit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they
How long
do.
are
mean-
they?
Pretty sure it's
How long are they?
same time as a elected president. 4 years.
Let's
Every
do
4
my
years,
own.
everything gets cleaned up.
That's,
Well-
How many
is
times
that
can
how
you
long
run?
the term is, or how long they're
How many
maximum
times
they're
can
allowed
you
to
vote in
serve in
Ah.
that
you're
position?
no longer eligible?
Hold on, I need. Fucking Christ.
Alright, because so let's kind of clear this up for English because I know it's not your first language. So you have for the U.S. you have the president who serves a 4-year term. He has a maximum of 2 terms or 8 years.
Unless it's
That is the term limit. And there's some specific rules for if he takes over the previous president dies, but that's ish.
Like, let's say I were to be Jimmy was to become a local representative in Spain's government. How many times could people vote you in once the term is over?
The thing is,
How many?
it's not. I have generally
just
no
there for
idea
life?
how the fuck to search this.
¿Cuántos términos?
Spanish Parliament term limit.
I'm sorry. It's not easy for me to search this up because I barely have any interest in politics. As if, like, we also have to deal with idiotic people in the fucking Congress. And
People.
Yeah, I think I saw something. Isn't the Spanish Parliament currently having problems actually properly forming a government?
we've having problems since 2018. Because last president that was actually a decent president got kicked out by the left party, and now the left party is doing jack shit. They
Yeah, sounds
literally
like that they were planning,
we've been having trouble. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we've been having trouble with Catalonia. They've been trying to become independent from Spain for some years now, and it's like, no, you can't do that. That is against the law on Spain. You cannot try to go independent. Like, you can't. Also, you wouldn't have the resources for it, and you wouldn't enter fucking.
You guys still have
yeah.
royalty. That's wild.
Yeah, we still have royalty.
Yes, Spain still has a monarch. A lot of European countries do somewhere.
Mm.
But it's like you.
I don't
Because
think
you
the
just
French
kind of
do,
forget
but-
because their prime
No,
minister
the
takes over
French
state.
don't. They're a republic.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Italy's
Yeah,
also a
French, for
republic.
obvious reasons, do not have royalty.
The only two that
Viva
I
la
can really
Revolution.
remember that have still monarchies are Spain and the UK.
European monarchies. Monarchies in Europe. Let's see. We have.
Me, my end.
So.
The
where's the
Netherlands
actual
have?
list Wikipedia?
Yes. the Netherlands. We actually have a monarchy.
We have.
We don't use presidents. We have just the royal family. That's it.
Andorra, Belgium, Denmark, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Monaco, Kingdom of the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, UK, and Vatican City.
I mean, the Vatican City, the king is basically the Pope.
King is the Pope. The Pope is the king.
The Pope is the king.
And I'm pretty sure the Vatican's also technically the only absolute monarchy left in Europe.
Which one?
Vatican.
Ah, makes sense. I mean,
The Pope's the only absolute monarch left in Europe. Yeah. Anyway, from what I looked around, it doesn't seem like the Spanish Parliament has term limits for its members.
even then, like, you see, because there's so many changes in parties, and you know, it's so much more.
Because you have more than two parties.
Yes, but like the thing is, we have two main parties, and then we have like a bunch of parties that come and go.
At least you have minor parties that actually do stuff. I think there's like 2 people in like the entirety of the U.S. Congress who aren't in one of the big parties.
Right.
And functionally, they're Team Blue. They're like from parties that are further left than blue.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, Bolt, how does it work in Bicycle Land?
First off, good joke there. But essentially, every 5 years, all of the parties that participate, like, and this is just Dutch, so bear with me for a sec. You have like a party for animals, 65 plus, which is for the elders. Like you have left and right, much the same thing. But every 5 years we are asked, of course you have to be of age, like, you know, in our case 18 plus. They just get like a huge piece of paper, and we only get to circle one simple thing for the party that we want to have like the biggest say, so to speak. Every amount of votes would earn them 1 chair, so to speak, and there are 150 chairs in total, so it's also a little bit difficult considering, much like Jimmy, I don't have too much of an interest in politics, but that's
It's basically the same as we do in
the
Spain.
base of
Like
what I know.
we vote for Senate, and for Congress, and for President.
Except
We do-
it's not a
I think-
president.
The question we asked
It's just
earlier
a
was,
political
how
party,
many
that's it.
terms are you guys allowed to do, or do you
Yeah,
guys
how
not
many?
do?
I don't think that's a thing. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Like, is there a limit to how many times they can run for office?
No, there isn't.
The thing is, people are being, you know, people do leave, and you don't see the same 5 faces every time you see Congress. Well, yes, but no at the same time. Depends, because usually the people that speak in Congress are like the heads of the parties.
Yeah. Like one time where one of us, where one party was selected, the head of that party, who is known as, I'm just gonna mention it by name because everyone in Dutch just knows them. Their name, Geert Wilders, as they are called. Yes, I just pronounced it Dutch. They probably made one of the most racist statements you could ever hear, and naturally the Dutch memed the hell out of it. But ultimately, everyone really flagged him as someone who should not be trusted for a good while.
Makes sense.
The statement in question,
Maybe you should
we have
if it's racist as fuck.
like it's, I wouldn't say it's like that, but it's like really not professional at all. To give it a little brief, like at that time, we have a lot of people who migrate to the Netherlands, so we sometimes have like houses that need to be built and whatnot. Then one person just said, "Do you want more or less of that specific group of people?" Yeah. Just no. That's not what you say straight up.
Yeah, that
Oh.
That's not how
bad.
this works.
that sounds
Yeah.
really bad, but it's not the worst thing I've heard.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately,
it was
we have to
really
deal with
bad.
American politicians.
Anyway,
For-
something
for-
else in the
for-
idea box.
Or for the
Okay,
level
the
reason
to
politics
why
round
not
this
it's
too
out,
much fun.
to round this out, for
Yeah.
the level of stupid that we have to deal with in American politics, there's a thing I remember seeing. I think it was from Arizona or maybe it was from New Mexico. It was one of those two. Right, there was a Native American member of the state legislature who some people from Party Red were questioning if they were here illegally.
Bruh.
They just
the
the brown skin and they think-
indigenous. This is the kind of shit we have to deal with. I'm hearing dogs.
Yeah,
My
it's from
neighbor's
Jimmy.
thoughts. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Anyway,
Anyway,
you know,
the reason we
bear.
brought up the government shutdown is because of Fat Bear Week, which is fantastic. So basically, in our state of Alaska, every year we have a week where what's the name of this? Katmai National Park Service will run a poll on the internet saying which is the fattest bear, and they all have dumb names.
Of course.
And it's tournament style. There's a bracket based on who is better than who.
No fucking
So
way.
here's from the official National Park Service website. Fat Bear Week, an annual celebration of success. All bears are winners, but only one true champion will emerge. Held over the course of 7 days and concluding on the Fat Bear Tuesday, people choose which bear to crown in this tournament-style bracket where bears are pitted against each other for your vote. From its humble beginnings as Fat Bear Tuesday in 2014 to over 1 million votes cast last year in 2022, celebrating fat bears and Katmai's healthy ecosystem has become a tradition. For bears, fat equals survival. Each winter, bears enter the den where they will not eat or drink until they emerge in the spring. During this time, they may lose up to 1/3 of their body weight as they rely solely on fat reserves. Survival depends on eating a year's worth of food in 6 months. So basically, you go to fatbearweek.org and you cast a vote based on the criteria listed on the website. And it's just...
Org or is it .gov?
It is a .org. I will post the link in general, and then Jimmy can choose if he wants to put that on...
Pretty sure it's just us on the Twitch, sadly.
Hold on. Here you go. Fat Bear Week. But anyway, should the government had shut if or when, probably not. You said it was delayed for 45 days, right?
Something like that,
Okay.
I think.
Something like that. But Fat Bear Week is fine. It's gonna happen anyways. Because the bracket reveal is
Ooh.
live tomorrow. But voting opens on the 4th of October and it closes October 10th. And then that will be when results are given. They have a live chat channel. It's so good. What was I gonna say? But if the government had shut down this by today or yesterday, something like that, the National Park Services would also be closed, meaning that there'd be nobody to count the tallies and votes for who is the fattest bear.
Wow.
No, it's a good thing that that didn't happen.
If they at least put it off for long enough for us to have Fat Bear Week is the only saving grace. Voting has currently ended for the yearlings, so the bears that were cubs, they were born this year and they're now in their first winter. They have ended. The winner was 806, whose name is Junior, and now we're waiting to see the adults. I believe last year's winner was it was 747. Like the Boeing plane. That's his name.
I was gonna say.
He's a fat fuck.
A.
The person who came the year before that was Otis. So yeah, I'm very glad that the government shutdown did not impede.
Otis.
I mean, let's be real. It's entirely possible that I assume it's like done at least semi-automatic. So it's probably they just have like one guy who's like willing to like log on in, like maybe 30 minutes, like volunteer and just go and do this to make people happy. Generally, Park Service, a lot of them are there because they want to make people happy.
This is the one government bureau I usually trust.
The National Park Service is one of the good ones. Department of Education can be iffy depending on if the politicians are sticking their fingers in it. And Department of Transportation, it would be nice if they actually went and forced the fact Amtrak has legal priority on the rails, but, you know, that's apparently asking too much to ask the government to enforce the law. Big corporations. Actually, speaking of enforcing the law on big corporations, did you see Amazon has had an antitrust lawsuit leveled against it?
What?
I did.
Yeah, Amazon, Daddy Bezos, has had an anti-monopoly lawsuit leveled against him by the federal government.
Interesting.
Which, you know, finally. Anyway, Mina, let's go to the you legally being allowed to perform exorcisms among other
Yes,
things.
please. I need to know what does this mean.
Really, it is so unexciting.
I don't care. Exorcism. Begone, foul demons.
Exorcise the ghost of the Confederacy, please. I don't even think God has the power to do that, but
It is-
please.
So unexciting. I cannot explain to you. Give me 1 second. Let me get my wallet so I can pull out my license.
You have a license?
Yeah. The license to exercise.
License.
Sounds like the. That sounds.
Yes, the
that sounds
license to
like
kill ghosts.
Like a Bond movie.
I love
Either a
just
Bond movie
the
or like a
unanimous, "You have
Powerwolf song."
license?" Is it? I have $5. Oh shit.
Hold on.
Anyway, it's really not that exciting. It's super dumb. But basically, one day I decided most of my friends are gay. I should probably do that thing so that they can get married. So I went to, I don't remember the name of the site, and I applied, and then I did get my license to become a priest. I can't find my license. Where did I go?
Well, that's a problem.
It's a problem.
It is a problem.
You can't find your license to exercise.
I know. Yeah, becoming an ordained minister. But it's...
You should just go online to get it.
That's literally what I did.
Bow. It's like the. I've seen a lot of the clips like that, where it's like. The number was on Google. Also, I just put in the
If I can
images
find the site, I'll
channel.
send it to you.
I just put in the images channel an old skit that I think you guys should watch. I can't put it on the stream obviously, but it's a skit from YouTube group Door Monster, just titled "License to Maim." It's literally just the parody of "License to Kill," basically, of that thing being kind of like a stupid.
Here it is, the Universal Life Church.
That doesn't sound suspicious at all.
It's something like that, I believe. But they give you a thing for wedding laws, they give you some church supplies, marriage certificates and about all that other stuff. But then they also have like a minister store, right? So you can buy shit for your specific thing. I'm gonna share the screen with you guys. Pull it out. Let me see. Right, so there's a minister store.
That.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my stuff from the Universal Life Church. If I can find my license, I will send you a picture of it. And you can buy all of this. You can buy the thing, you can buy the wedding set, you can buy the stole, right?
Uh-huh.
They have a pandemic wedding set. There's a baptism set.
Pandemic
Hell yeah, pandemic wedding.
Wedding
Yeah,
set.
they have a baptism set. Legally, because I have a thing with them, I am allowed to do this shit. And I think it's funny. They have a Book of Shadows, dude. They have so many different religions that you're able to get.
Book of Shadows?
Yeah, a Book of Shadows. It's for, like, Wiccans shit, right?
Speaking of shadows and scary shit.
Hold on, I'm not done. I'm trying to find it.
There's a new challenge.
Oh.
Yeah, I could start my own church if I wanted to.
that
That's
tax exempt
interesting.
status.
Yeah, I could go for that tax exempt status, technically speaking.
And get the IRS to fuck you over.
Traditional Spanish.
But yeah, I really could just do all of these things. I know I can't find it right now. If I can find it, I'll show you
Oh,
guys.
I see what you've just done, Jimmy. He's just put a new channel point challenge to make him play a spooky game.
Haha. There's
One
tarot cards.
very
Yeah.
specific spooky game.
I mean, clearly, it
you
should be a
can do
challenge
it.
to make you play FNAF, but
I think
I
it's
have
just
FNAF
that
1.
You're able to get your Wiccan certificate, right? So just you have resources that you can get for this, so that you can do it for whatever religion you apply to, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, if I remember correctly, yes, this item is in the store. The Gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Oh my god,
Spaghetti
no!
monster.
No,
I
I
forgot
know.
that was a thing.
Mina, I know someone who knew I know someone that
Oh,
knew someone
wow.
that was a priest in this damn religion. In the Flying Spaghetti Monster
Oh, you
religion,
can
and I was
buy
like,
the
what the
Gospel of the
fuck?
Flying
Oh,
Spaghetti
no, the flying spaghetti
on
monster.
Not
Universal
the
Life
Flying
Church
Spaghetti
website
Monster.
for $15.
Oh my god. Was this the religion
thought
you
it's just
signed up for?
$15.
Oh, this made my day.
Oh no, I'm a religious. I just have the ordination.
Ah, okay.
I'm just
Oh
an
man, this
ordained
made my
minister.
day.
Oh, good
Uh.
heavens. Oh, you just sent me back. Holy moly.
Let's move on then, I guess.
You see?
'cause-
You say,
Yeah.
oh, it's nothing super interesting. Are you kidding me?
It's not that interesting.
You say
Not
that, but it's
interesting.
hella interesting. It's hella funny.
It's-
Welcome back to flying spaghetti monster.
anyway,
Wasn't your,
You should guys talk about them dumb rules or laws.
yes. This was something I thought of randomly
Yeah, I'm gonna go
when
get some
I was
food.
going about my day, as you do. I just thought of like, that thing being illegal makes no fucking sense. Like, it's like basically counterintuitive levels of it doesn't make sense. But anyway, it's just some. And anyone in chat's allowed to chime in. It's dumb rules or laws that make no sense if you actually think about it, but like actually like really common, like rules and laws. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
I still think jaywalking should be one of them.
I mean, yeah, it literally is. That's literally jaywalking. Literally exists as auto industry propaganda to make it so when people get hit by cars, it's the people getting hit by the car's fault because they were walking in the road instead of
Yeah, but,
the people in the cars actually being safe.
And it's literally the opposite from my end, literally.
Yeah.
If,
It's
say if
literally
you're
like just a thing in the U.S.
Yeah, like with how you say that the one who is walking is always at fault. It's like the complete opposite where I'm at.
I mean,
Even
it's
if you're,
not
like, on the
always,
bike,
but usually.
yeah. But like,
It's
on my end, even if you were to say go on the bike and roundabout, if you notice the car approaching, but they didn't notice you, well, you had the go ahead because shark teeth or
right
stop
of way.
signs, and you still get hit by the car, even though actually, I should put it on you. Say you're driving. Sorry, that's my bad. The other way around. Say you're driving a car and you notice someone and they bump into you as you drive further down the straightaway, right? Even though you saw them but they didn't stop, you still, as the car owner, get it becomes responsible.
In the US, usually it's not like that strict, but usually the way jaywalking works is basically, yeah, you're just not allowed to cross the street except in designated locations, which are like some place like miles apart, literally.
At the
And
corner.
this is seen as perfectly acceptable nowadays. It literally originates where there was a problem in the early days of the automobile, where people kept getting hit by cars and dying because people were speeding around in cities. They're just like, we should put very strict speed limits on cars of like 20 miles an hour in the city. To which the auto company's like, no, 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 no. It's these idiots' fault for walking in the street. Like they've always done since forever.
I'm gonna dox myself a little bit in the Discord chat, but I'm fairly certain you guys are not gonna do anything. There you go.
Oh yeah, there it is. Mina posted the license for you finally found.
No.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And I'm pretty sure originally it was chosen for jaywalking because at the time, like, jay was basically a slur.
Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I got some food. What the fuck are we talking about?
Jaywalking is stupid. We start.
See?
And the owner's looking at me, and she's glaring at me, and I'm like, your dog walked in front of me!
It's look, the only times where it's like the very clearly like the person shouldn't be allowed to cross the road there is like if it's like freaking highway, and some of the US streets kind of make sense, but that's because the US builds a lot of streets like highways because you just do. Because the US is, I don't know, like that. They've even come up with a name for it. They call it people who like actually study like roads and shit have come up with a name. This stupid ass design philosophy, and they call it a strode. And it is just everywhere in the US. It's like, if you've ever seen those pictures of it's like just the infinite line of like gas stations and like strip malls and stuff, it's probably on one of those types of roads. The US builds those everywhere because the US insists on being like that. Let's see, what were some of the other things we'd put in here that are like that? Has hunting whales from a moving vehicle.
Yeah, it is illegal to hunt whales while in a moving vehicle that is not a boat.
Is that's
that
kind of
common.
like how in like, I think it's New Mexico, it's illegal to hunt whales in the landlocked state of New Mexico. That's just one of those like nothing laws meant to like make you feel nice though. I feel like. I have a list of 3 here. One of them, the one that I actually thought of first, that was like the impetus for this whole thing, is like the ban on fast deploying knives, like switchblades and stuff like that.
What does that mean?
It's knives where it's like it's very easy to very quickly pull out the blade, kind of thing. And the reason I say this is because the idea is I think it's those kind of knives are more commonly used for like committing crime and stabbing people.
I would think so. But that's the reason why they had to ban it.
However, the thing is, like, if you're gonna like stab someone, you're probably doing it in advance, so you have time to like pull out your knife, and you can just like hide it behind your arm or something, or in your sleeve. However, if you're like trying to use it as like a self-defense thing, you don't have time to do that, so you'd want a fast deploy knife to defend yourself with.
Yes.
So it really is counterintuitive, like being able to prevent crime. All it does is make it so people are less able to defend themselves from people who are going to commit crime, who then might have one anyway because, you know, they're going to commit crime. They don't care if it's illegal. I didn't have it listed as a thing I thought, but it's kind of like the things was like some place in America like specifically listed like, oh yeah, gun-free zones. So it's like, yeah, so places I, a criminal, can go to knowing that there won't be anyone who's armed and able to stop me. Less logic, government. Well done.
Yep.
I also had in there, what else did I have in there? I had overly stringent zoning laws. That's just a US thing, where it's just gotta
Okay.
make sure
How
build
about
whatever you
Give us
want.
some stupid laws.
And then I also rounded out with just the school choice vouchers, which is a thing in the US, which originally was a good idea, but was then co-opted to be stupid. So what that is, that's basically if you don't want to go to public school, it's like a way to divert funding to a different thing, which is stupid. Originally it wasn't super stupid because it was designed for like helping like get children who need it into like schools for the blind and schools for the deaf. But now it's like, oh yeah, you want to go for private school? Yeah, go ahead. We'll give you your public school money to do that. I think I've mentioned this before, but it still is annoying. Anyway,
Yeah.
do either of you have examples of really stupid laws that are really common over in the Europe,
Don't think they are on my end.
or just laws you think are really stupid?
Nope.
Don't think so.
Don't have any laws
Something. Okay, hold on.
They
Something I
didn't
feel
do
like should be done. Sorry, Mina. I just realized something. I am so sorry. Something I realized in Spain that should be a thing in more places than just America. Lifelong prison.
Oh, like life sentences?
Yep.
The thing that shouldn't be a thing, or that should?
Should.
life sentences?
What?
Yes, because there's some people that do not deserve to go out on the streets.
Yeah, we have life sentences.
But we don't
even
in
have the death
Spain.
penalty.
In Spain, the maximum sentence a person can
Here's a
get
weird
is
law from
40
Spain.
years.
You're not allowed to walk too many dogs. Oh yeah, some places don't have the death life sentences. I know that when the serial killer in, I believe it was Brazil, something like that, he was found to have murdered hundreds and hundreds of orphan children. Brutally dismembered, murdered, abused them. And he only got 20 years for that. I think it was Argentina, actually.
Jeez,
He got 20 years and he is currently out because Argentina or whatever country he's in does not have a life system.
For me, there was a crime a few years back of a father who took the children that he made with a woman and killed them.
Yeah,
And like when you saw this on the news, like the dude was like he just had a cold face and he looked like a psychopath. I think he's right now in jail. He's going to be there for 40 years and then be a free man again. And he's like, that's not enough. That kind of people do not deserve to go back on the streets.
You've killed the life you've sworn to protect. You do not deserve to step out anymore.
Exactly.
But for something more lighthearted, here's a couple of laws from Spain that are kind of weird. You're not allowed to walk more than 8 dogs at a time.
Okay.
If not, you receive a penalty. You're not allowed to drive with sandals on.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Huh.
There are
What the
naming-
heck? That really is stupid. I'm sorry. That is probably one of the stupidest things I've
I
ever
can't
heard.
believe Spain tells me I can't wear my chanclas.
Yeah, it's funny because in Spain, my mom also drives with. I think. Don't quote me on this, but I think my
Naming
mom
regulations.
sometimes drives with.
Throughout the
chanclas.
country, there are some restrictions when it comes to naming children. For example, mandarina is not acceptable because it's a fruit. Maybe the law isn't so weird because the US needs some more of that shit. But you're not allowed to name your child something like mandarina.
Okay.
You can get a fine for being shirtless. Palma de Mallorca
Mallorca.
now charges 600. Yeah, Mallorca now charges 600 pounds or $820 for anybody that chooses to be topless in the city center.
Yeah, no doubt. Most because the Mallorca Isles are, especially Ibiza, is place for a lot of partying. So seeing people walking around topless wouldn't be a thing. Is a thing. Because woohoo drunk people going party.
Drunk
Prostitutes
people,
are-
yeah, sounds about right.
While prostitution is widely legal in Spain, they have to wear the right equipment for the job in Catalonia. So there was a law passed that prohibits any pedestrians next to highways that aren't wearing clothing that's extremely visible to traffic. So prostitutes need to wear safety vests. Groceries are not allowed in convertibles. Don't just loosely throw groceries in the back seat of any convertible. Doing so is against the law, perhaps just
Put them in the trunk
in
or
case
close
any of your meats and
the.
vegetables try to jump out and make a run for it.
I mean, not make a run for it, but like it could crash into another car.
Yeah.
And it could break the window. So that can be dangerous. So
There are forbidden names other than the mandarina thing I mentioned. So in Spain, it is absolutely forbidden to call a child Cain, Judas, or Lenin.
So you cannot
I
call
can't
it
believe Lenin is on the same.
Cain, Judas, y Lenin.
Yeah, which is funny because one of my children that I watch over, right? His name is Lenin.
And we know
Uh-oh.
someone who's
That
called
is
Cain.
hilarious. I like how in Spain, if Lenin is on the same level as you've got 2 biblical bad guys and then Lenin.
Begging with the dog. It might be a familiar sight across Spain, but is actually against the rules in Madrid for people to beg with their dog by their side. You're not allowed to do the fucky wuckies or sleep in your car in Granada.
That's an anti-homeless law.
No. You're not. Yes, you're not allowed to sleep in your car, but you're also not allowed to have sex in your car. In Granada, but in Bilbao, it is allowed. But you get a fine.
Hell yeah, I can.
It's allowed. You just get a fine.
That's funny.
So punishable by
in
fine
Barcelona-
means legal for a price.
Yes. Walking around in swimsuits in Barcelona and Malaga will get you a fine of up to 200 euros.
In Malaga? Bruh.
And dominoes. Well, arguably one of the most popular games in all of Spain, playing dominoes is strictly prohibited on terraces in Sevilla as it violates noise pollution regulations.
Huh.
So those are some of the weird laws I can find online.
Those
At
are
least on
some-
Spain.
It's Spain. Now it's your turn.
time to time to laugh at silly Dutch laws.
Laws that the Netherlands
Yes.
still has in 2023. Locking a burger in your toilet, illegal.
What?
I'm just gonna read the article as it goes. Picture this: a robber breaks into your house when you're at home. In a burst of adrenaline and quick thinking, you trap them in the bathroom. Hurrah! Success! Well, nah. By locking that burglar and burglar, not burger. What the fuck did I read?
Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, by
You
locking
said
that
burger, I was
burglar,
thinking,
depriving them of the privilege of stealing your stuff, you're simultaneously depriving the burglar of their liberty, and that's against the law. So you cannot lock up somebody who is stealing your shit in the bathroom.
Ah.
Want a divorce? Your in-laws are forever after. In the Netherlands, even after divorce, your parents-in-law are still your family.
Oh.
It's illegal to not have lights and a bell on your bike, but helmets are optional. Missing a bell or a light can land you a €40 fine.
It's reasonable considering, most of us have bikes, there's more bikes than people, and considering how dangerous the roads are.
Given that they're
That
a
would
fairly
make
standard
sense.
mode of transportation. Also, those clips of like the cleaning out the canals in Amsterdam is just a barge full of bikes and the crane pulling more bikes out of the canals.
That's so fucking funny. Let's see. You cannot legally marry in the Netherlands unless one of you has residency.
Okay.
House sharing is technically not allowed. It's illegal to go into a coffee shop if you are under the age of 18.
Why a coffee shop?
Coffee shops tend to sell cigarettes or sometimes even beer and whatnot. I've been to
Oh.
one myself, but
Oh, they also sell booze. Okay.
Even then,
Yeah.
if you ask for booze, they should ask for your ID.
Dutch coffee shops
Yes, they
sell
should.
booze. If you're underage, you're not allowed in.
Oh, they also sell weed. Okay.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Right. Weed
That's the
is
reason.
legal in the Netherlands, I think.
yes. So if you want to raise it.
If your dog barks in Rotterdam, you can get a €130 fine. Repeat offenders can face fine up to €2,250. Rest assured, though, your pet is only breaking the law when they bark incessantly.
Ah. Okay, I was going to be like, wait, if they bark once, they just.
No,
Bug.
it's like if they bark repeatedly, like mine does. In Flevoland, it's illegal to make chalk art on public sidewalks.
Screw you, little Timmy.
In the
Sorry.
city of Groningen, street
Chalk
buskers-
art. Okay.
Chalk art, yeah.
Hold on,
drawing
how
with
do you
chalk.
spell that? What did you say?
Groningen.
Yeah, Groningen.
Groningen? Sorry.
Groningen?
Street buskers must pick up their gear and move spots after half an hour. This law came into being after residents complained about having to hear the same melody over and over and over again. So if you're playing music on the sidewalk, you gotta move every 30 minutes.
God, okay.
That said, when a famous street artist got written up, the regional court intervened and added that only monotonous music would be fined. So no NPC music.
No NPC.
NPC?
Character.
There's some more information about that burglar law that I found. If your home gets burgled, it's illegal to lock the thief up in your house, as that would be depriving them of their liberty. Should the occasion arise, you must first warn the burglar, then you can block them. But if they still refuse to leave, you can lock them up, after which you must call the police immediately. These laws can go even further. If you have a baseball bat lying about and you attack the burglar with it, you will be charged with premeditated assault. The Netherlands only allows you to use the same force that is used against you. So if the thief also has a baseball bat, all bets are off and you can have a batting duel.
I can imagine the bats
What?
going off like lightsabers, dude.
It is not illegal to escape prison. As long as no crimes are committed in the process, the judiciary system cannot give the escapee extra time. Keep in mind that breaking a window already counts as vandalism, so the criminal must be
That's
a
actually
true
a
escape
thing in a
artist.
lot of places, that one. Of the act of breaking out of prison itself isn't a crime. However, any crimes committed in doing so is still the crime. And it's basically under the philosophy of pursuit of liberty and all that.
Yeah. Which, come to think of it, if you think about it like that, what that would mean essentially is if you are outside and you can't climb over the fence, you can just climb over and run out. In theory, of course, it's not going to happen, but in theory.
You can face prison time for mocking the Swiss flag. If you use the flag in such a way that it hurts the Swiss national pride, you could get a month in jail or a fine of 4,350 euros.
Why the Swiss?
I have no idea.
What
Is
is
this
the
a law in the
Netherlands?
Netherlands?
I think so.
Huh?
Well, can you confirm?
That's the first time I hear of the Swiss flag.
Okay, so that one's dubious.
It's probably a Swiss law.
That one might be a
It is-
Swiss law, but that's something that.
It's weird. Here's a different one. It is against the law. It is against Dutch law to urinate in a canal, but acceptable if you are pregnant.
Uh-huh. Okay then.
It is illegal to smoke tobacco in all public places, but not cannabis, which became a confusing matter when police find a man for smoking a mixture of both in a coffee house, but the penalty laid down for the tobacco part. This law bans the sale of fireworks except for the 3 days leading up to New Year's Eve, December 29th to the 31st, after which fireworks can be legally fired between 6 p.m. on the 31st of December to 2 a.m. on the 1st of January, when inevitably a buying and blowing up frenzy starts.
What?
They have a time frame from when you can buy and shoot fireworks.
And I want to
I
tell you
got that
something.
part.
That law
It was
does
the last part
absolutely
of it I-
nothing.
When
I didn't
inevitably a
catch.
buying and blowing up frenzy starts.
Oh, I didn't hear France. I heard France.
You know. But here's the thing, right? With that law, it does nothing because I still hear fireworks being shot about well around like November and whatnot. So
First time.
yeah, I'm not surprised. Like ever.
Spain's like one of the countries with the most fireworks shot, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Prostitution is legal, which means that Dutch law requires all workers to pay taxes in the Netherlands as well.
Oh, you
Euthanasia is
want one
legal
that's
in the
fun in the
Netherlands.
U.S.? You want a fun one in the U.S.? Legally, you are required to pay taxes on any money you gain from crime.
Yep. That's where they got Al Capone.
That's how they got Al Capone. Got him for
Euthanasia
felony
is-
tax evasion.
Euthanasia is legal in the Netherlands for ages up to 1 year and older than 12 years. Children's groups are also pushing to extend the law to cover ages 1 to 12 years. Let's see. Besides the military, nobody in the Netherlands can shoot or own an automatic weapon. The only exceptions for gun ownership include the police for self-defense, hunters, and target shooters, although many restrictions exist. Huh. In New York, let's move to the US real quick. In New York, jumping off of a building is punishable by death.
No shit.
The year it was enacted is unknown, but it was repealed in 1964. And the death penalty has not been a thing in New York since 2007.
Is New York State or New York City?
New York State.
And they,
Yes, New York State.
it's in New York City, New York State.
It
It's
is,
in
however,
the-
you have to be
it's not-
specific.
Yeah.
Ah.
Inside
Because
clothing is banned, but toplessness is fine in New York.
city?
The
I think
city.
it's the city.
It's the city.
You have to be specific, Jimmy, because in the U.S., basically every level of government is able to create laws.
So what counts in one city, it may not be the same law that applies in in the same county.
It's sometimes they're contradictory. For example, in many U.S. states, cannabis, weed is legal. However, at the federal level, it is not. Which means technically it is illegal. However, usually it's only the federal government who enforces it, and usually they don't. They
So
have
it's
more important
illegal,
things
illegal.
to do. It's one of those things that some people are trying to legalize, and it's one of those things it's mainly illegal at the federal level because it's a remnant from the war on drugs.
Thanks, Nixon.
So, Lord
There's a-
Spider-Man, weed has been legalized.
In Everett,
Anyway.
Washington, in the year 2010, storefronts are not allowed to hypnotize passerbys.
Huh?
An amusing reminder, something that has happened at least once to inspire law about it. So yes, somebody once designed a storefront that put people into a trance, and doing so today could result in a fine of up to $500 US. Also in Washington state, as of the year 1909, you are not allowed to buy a mattress on Sunday.
Okay.
In Hermosa Beach, California, as of 2012, you are not allowed to pour salt on the highway in some parts.
That's gonna be
Okay.
annoying if it's gonna freeze over, because then you need
It's
salt
not,
to
it's
make
in
sure that
California.
something's slippery.
We have very little snow.
Plus, you said it was in like in the LA area, so
Yeah, it's in Hermosa
Yeah.
Beach, which is by the
No, not-
beach.
not
We do
in
not
Cali.
get
That's
snow by
fair.
our beaches. In Fresno, California, you are not allowed to bother the lizards.
fair enough.
So you're not allowed. Apparently, too many people were trying to touch and feed them, so the city had to enforce lizard law. In Long Beach, California, you're not allowed to swear and during a round of mini golf.
The hell?
Specifically mini golf.
Yep.
Specifically
San-
that.
Full
Francisco,
size golf is
California.
fine.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah, it's
miniature
because
golf
they're 6 years old
illegal.
around, and apparently they get the children and all that. You
Yeah.
can take an elephant on a walk if it's on a leash in San Francisco as of 1942.
An elephant?
An elephant or a wolf?
Only if it's on a leash.
What?
Only if it's on a leash. I don't know what fucking strength you have to try and pull back a raging bull elephant, but Godspeed.
I mean, if it trusts you enough, you can just walk and the elephant will follow, but still.
What leash is gonna be able to hold back an elephant?
I said, if the elephant trusts you.
I'm gonna go two
I guess we'll have to address the elephant in the room later.
more on this. In Blythe, California. In Blythe, California, you may not wear cowboy boots unless you own at least 2 cows.
What?
Wow.
In Blythe, California, you're not allowed to wear cowboy boots unless you own at least 2 cows.
Aw,
You said that
that's
line?
interesting.
I know I said that one, but Jimmy didn't understand. Mississippi, as of 2013, you are not allowed to have 2 children out of wedlock.
What?
You can only have
That-
one
that-
illegitimate child. The second one constitutes a misdemeanor punishable by fines or jail time.
That sounds about right for that part of the country.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with this, but Mississippi lawmakers viewed it as an issue of morality, and so they decided to violate the fucking Constitution, like always.
Yep.
Wow.
In
It's the United
Yamhill,
States for
Oregon,
you.
in Yamhill, Oregon, as of 1867, you are not allowed to get your fortune told, pretty much, because in that town specifically, any form of occult arts is illegal to practice, including fortune telling, astrology, phrenology, palmistry, clairvoyance, mesmerism, spiritualism, or any other practice or practices generally recognized to be unsound and unscientific, whereby an attempt or pretense is made.
Also sounds like it's breaking the Constitution.
Also, last one, just because I found this one extremely interesting. In Skamania County, Washington, as of the year 1969, you are not allowed to kill Bigfoot. Anyone who has been to Washington State, particularly Western Washington, knows that they're a little obsessed with Bigfoot. The urban legend became so popular that people were delving into the wilderness in search of the mythical creature. In Skamania County, they were worried enough to pass a law stating that the slaying of Bigfoot to be a felony and punishable by 5 years in prison. The law has since been amended to establish Bigfoot as an endangered species.
Okay.
That's it.
But
Those are just a couple of funky laws we have here in the States.
Anyway,
And Jimmy,
United
you're gonna
Auto
say-
Workers strike.
Yeah. My mouth is tired from all those laws.
All those words.
All those words. Too many words.
The words, what do they mean?
Memes, the DNA of the soul.
memes, the DNA of the soul.
I might have a wisdom tomorrow.
Oh my God,
Or next week. I hit you with the box.
Anyway, yes, so the United Auto Workers strike. So, the United Auto Workers, the big auto worker union in the United States, is doing a really big strike against the big auto companies.
As they
I think
should.
it's like Detroit or something. Basically saying, yo, the big rich assholes who run the company got a fuck ton of raise, give us the same percentage raise. Especially since, like, 10 years ago, we all took, like, cuts or whatever to help the companies get through a financial crisis. And you said we'd be rewarded for it later when things got better. Well, they got better.
But I didn't get rewarded.
And it's, like, the biggest strike they've ever done. Or something, like, all the big automakers have done it at once, all the different shops at once, basically. And it's big enough that Joe Biden himself went and showed up and, like, did a publicity stunt where he stood in the picket line or whatever. Just a big fucking deal. It's the first time a sitting president has ever come in on the side of the unions, actually in person. Meanwhile, apparently Donald Trump showed up and gave, like, a speech of solidarity in front of a non-union workplace. And basically, all the union workers are like, yeah, he's full of shit.
Ooh.
Both Orange Man. He showed up to give a speech in support of the unions in front of a non-union workplace. And basically, all the union people are like, yeah, he's full of shit. One, he's doing it in front of the non-union workplace, and two, we've seen his policies.
Had to
Oh,
live
shut
in
up.
there for years. We know. Sir, stop growling. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's really big deal in the fact unions are actually doing stuff, and it's like, actually, like, doing things, and also, the other comical thing is, like, how blatantly cartoonishly evil some Team Red politicians are being about being anti-union. Like, one, I think it was from, like, Georgia, some, like, Georgia, like, senator or whatever, explicitly said that they were a union buster on, like, national TV.
Bruh.
Hmm.
Bro, you realize even like the majority of the Team Red voter base thinks unions are good now, right?
Pay a little bit for the union for protection, but the benefits of being in the union just outweigh some of the negatives.
It's like, yeah, there's like some unions that are crap, and yeah, it costs you money to be in the union, but generally you'll make much more money from being in the union, so it's net positive in your wage. It's like the whole point. It's ridiculous. It's just how blatantly in the corporate pocket some politicians are. But, you know, probably still gonna end up getting reelected because that's how politics in the U.S. is. They're the most blatantly anti-your electorate shit imaginable, still get reelected. Yeah, big deal. We're actually seeing like pro-union stuff, and apparently I was doing some more reading on it. Apparently from like because fairly early in his presidency, Joe Biden came down on like the railroad unions and told them they couldn't strike. But apparently he then went in, like basically negotiated directly with the companies for most of what they were asking for anyway. So, eh.
Eh. Alright.
Not great, not terrible.
I'm gonna BRB, I have to take care of something.
What else do we have in the idea box? Because I don't really know what else to say on that. Oh right. You guys had mentioned that the Yandere dev said something.
I would like to be there when we talk about
Stupid.
that.
Yeah,
Could
not
you
surprising,
please
idiot.
talk about something else?
Okay.
If it is
oh.
possible.
Alright, in that case, that's the thing first thing in the idea box I had, which is the disaster that was the Soviet submarine K-19. So, this was a Soviet nuclear submarine. Nuclear-powered submarine, alright? And let me tell you, it was definitely, Russian Navy quality on the stuff going on with it. So, for starters, this boat, this submarine, let's just say the crew nicknamed it Hiroshima. Because of some of the shit that went down with it. So this boat killed a dozen workers before it was even launched.
Putting in 110%.
A dozen workers who were constructing it before it even launched. In 3 different ways. Alright? There was, quote, several workers. So it was 2 who were killed when a fire broke out. 6 were killed while gluing rubber lining were killed by fumes while they were gluing shit, and one guy was killed when a missile tube cover crushed him. So 9 people were killed before the ship even hit the water. Alright? Off to a great start. Then when the boat was launched, the ceremonial champagne bottle didn't break. Which is traditionally viewed as being unlucky and also traditionally viewed as the manufacturers definitely cut corners, because that's like the easiest fucking thing to get correctly. It was also broke with tradition in that the captain was chosen to do it instead of a woman. Usually it's done by a woman, apparently. Right, and then before it was even commissioned, alright, he is doing its like trials before commissioning. The crew operating the reactor somehow managed to bend one of the control rods. Which, for context, I was watching a video and the guy said that he talked to some of his people working like the nuclear industry, and they had one of two reactions. One, how the fuck did they manage to do that? And two, it's the Soviets! Of course they managed to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
Also, after surfacing from the first full power run, the crew discovered that most of the hull's rubber coating had detached. So the entire surface of the hull had to be recoated rubber, which is done to make it quieter. During a test dive to maximum depth, flooding was reported in the reactor compartment, and the captain ordered an immediate surface, wherein the boat heeled over onto the port side due to the water that had taken on. It was later determined that during construction, workers had failed to replace the gasket, and at some point, the galley crew disposed of wood from equipment crates through the galley's waste system, clogging it, leading it to flood the 9th compartment, which filled 1/3 full of water.
Jeez.
Yeah. And at one point, there was a coolant leak caused by failure of the main circulation pump, which was fixed. And then, the boat was commissioned. All this before the boat was even accepted into service.
That shit
Next
came
tab on
on
some incredible levels of how do you fuck that up, and we haven't even commissioned the boat into service. Next, the next headline on the Wikipedia article. Where was that, Mina?
Are you sure somebody on the crew wasn't named Murphy?
Probably not. I don't think that's a traditional Russian name. Anyway,
Fair
the
enough.
next thing on the Wikipedia article for it: nuclear accident.
Oh, yay!
Basically, they suffered a reactor partial meltdown due to the coolant system pumps failing again. They could not immediately contact Moscow and request assistance because a separate accident had damaged the long-range radio. Luckily, the control rods, which were now no longer bent, were automatically inserted, but the reactor temperature still continued to rise due to decay heat, which caused it to rise to 800 degrees Celsius. The engineers managed to fabricate a new coolant system by cutting off an air vent valve and welding a water supply pump to it. And they did successfully manage to jury rig it. Unfortunately, this exposed them to sufficient radiation. They were all turned to goo pretty quickly. So they all died of radiation poisoning pretty quickly. But they did manage to avert total catastrophe. Unfortunately, radioactive steam containing fission products were drawn into the ship's ventilation system and spread to other compartments. The entire crew was irradiated, as was most of the ship and some of the ballistic missiles on board. All 7 of the engineering crew who managed to stop complete catastrophe died within the next month. 50 more sailors died within the next 2 years of radiation exposure. Instead of continuing at which point, the captain wisely decided that instead of continuing the planned route to surface and head to meet with other Soviet submarines, because, you know, actually some wise decision. At which point, fearing a mutiny, he had all small arms thrown overboard. At which point, the first, and on his way to meet with the diesel submarines to get assistance, NATO forces showed up. Like, yo, do you need any help? To which he's like, no. To which the Americans like,
You say so.
okay. If you say so, yeah.
I have returned.
Welcome back. I want to watch this bit in the VOD because this is just bullshit.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. Alright. And it keeps going, so they eventually manage to get towed back to port. At which point, alright, the boats had a partial meltdown of the reactor and whatnot. It's a very unlucky ship, just generally accepted. What do you think they do with it? If you guessed, replace the reactor segment and recommission the ship back into service, you'd be right.
Jeez. Like, I understand ships expensive. At some point, give up. Try again tomorrow.
It has to be enough at some point.
It is
Yeah, well,
okay
this
to
is
start
the
from
Soviets.
scratch again.
So this brings the total death count up to, what was it? 17 people. Between workmen and crew members who've been killed by this boat. Let's see. Later operational history was later upgraded. All right. On 15th of November 1969, collided with the USS Gatto. Which completely destroyed the bow sonar systems and mangled the covers of 4 torpedo tubes. But it was able to surface and return to port, and the American submarine was relatively undamaged and continued her patrol. On February 24th, 1972, a fire broke out while the submarine was at depth off Newfoundland. The boat surfaced and the crew evacuated. The 12 men trapped in the aft torpedo room. Towing was delayed by a gale. The rescuers could not reach the aft torpedo room because of conditions in the engine room. The fire killed another 28 people! And an additional 2 others after. It was caused by a hydraulic fluid leak onto a hot filter. On 15th November 1972, another fire broke out in compartment 6, but was put out by chemical fire extinguishers, and there were no casualties.
Well, that's a lot of fires.
So, we're up to over 30 people!
Jesus Christ.
30 people.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the quality of the Soviet Navy. Now the Russian Navy. This is one boat. One. Like, honestly, at some point, they should have just cut their losses, but it fulfilled its entire, like, planned service life. Like, bruh. Bruh. Just apparently couldn't take the hint. This boat was just fucking cursed.
To be built, relax.
Come on. Ah, Jimmy's
Oh,
back.
Jesus Christ.
Alright. Jimmy, at some point, watch the VOD for that, because that was
It's a
the
long
long
story,
list
but
of
just like Jesus Christ.
Yes.
What happened?
Uh,
Can I get a
Watch
TLDR,
the VOD.
please?
the quality of the Soviet Navy.
Okay.
It's a tale of a submarine that managed to routinely just demonstrate, please, just take it out of service. This thing's cursed. Nope. Keep going. Keep going. A
Netflix
submarine
and
whose
that
own
thing.
crew nicknamed it Hiroshima, okay? Anyway, there was the one thing that Jimmy wanted to be here for the telling of. What was that again?
Yandere-tan!
Hello, it is I, Eva X, here to give you a toast.
Oh, right, it was the Yandere dev shit. Right, that was the last thing
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
that Jimmy wanted to hear about.
So apparently you guys have never heard about the sex license thing he talked about, and I think that's wild. Back in
Oh
2020.
yes, license to fuck.
Yeah. So back in 2020 when Yandev was originally being called out for taking way too fucking long on his game because Osana wasn't even out at that point. Oh.
What again?
Can you hear me right?
Yes, we can.
I can.
Okay. Back in 2020, Yanderedev was being originally called out because his game was taking too fucking long. At that point, Osana hadn't come out yet, and he was making, I think, well over $4,000 a month on his Patreon.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
that's when we figured out, that's when people had started figuring out how he was writing his code. That was after he fucked up his deal with Tiny Build. That was after he got called out for stealing assets and taking way too long on building mini games and side quests instead of the main fucking story. People had already started calling him out for being a sex weirdo. Because not only could you choose what type of underwear he would wear, or Yanchan, as her name is, would wear for different boosts, originally her skirt was supposed to open up as an inventory, like a coat would in, I think, one of the Resident Evil games? Or Hitman game? I can't remember. She was supposed to open her skirt and essentially flash the player with the silhouette to see what options she had for murder. So people were like, yeah, no, he's a little weird.
Making a game
And-
called Gondare Simulator. What do you expect?
Right?
Yep.
He
That
has
is
a
the-
habit of being super sexual in his streams, which no one should be surprised. He openly has been super sexual around his streams and his child viewer base. It later came out that he used the money that he was earning on Patreon not to further like pay bills or so that he could exclusively focus on Yandere Simulator. He bought 2 Nintendo Switches so that he could have 2 islands on Animal Crossing, right?
Based.
And he bought not 1, but 2 different sex dolls because he broke the first one. Her hip got broken and she could no longer hold a leg up. And so he threw that one out and he bought a bigger, more expensive one. And he dresses that up as Zero Sweet Samus sometimes. He actually put the fucking sex doll, like she has a purple wig, right? I don't remember what name she had. It's on a now deleted FPS Diesel video. But he put a character that looks very similar to that sex doll in the game.
As you do.
And her description is she has a boyfriend who is she has a video game maker or producer boyfriend who lives abroad.
Oh my god.
These are, I don't even think they're high schoolers because all of the uniforms are middle schoolers uniforms.
Bruh.
I know that the oldest middle schooler can be 15, but it's still a little weird when they're a middle schooler. But the most infamous thing that he's done
Oh
was
god.
he addressed it on his Tumblr and on his website. Whereas somebody came out earlier than 2020 and said, yeah, we were talking about the age of consent when he said something about a 14-year-old and a 40-year-old. The person, I believe, said something like a 14-year-old and a 40-year-old should not be together. And Alex, in all of his Yandev, in all of his infinite fucking Coomer wisdom, is just like, I don't think the age of consent is effective because different people achieve different stages of maturity in their life. And some people at 14 are able to handle sexual situations, whereas other people at 30 are not able to handle sexual situations. So
I mean, the
I think
second
there
part's
should be...
definitely accurate, to be fair.
Why?
What he's saying is accurate, but you need to at least be a certain age, I think, to even enter a sexual situation with somebody who is much older than you, with much more life experience. Because, like, I understand the age of consent being after 18, because at that point, you're out of high school. Even if you were to enter in a sexual relationship and something were to happen as a result of that, like a child, you are not at risk of throwing your whole life away as much as a high schooler would be. You know?
Yeah.
Also, isn't the age of in Japan still like pretty low?
It's 14 federally, but each prefecture has it a little bit higher than that. So, like, the federal government, the monarchy, or the, what's it called?
The Emperor?
Yeah, the emperor has the law at 14, but it's much higher on the quote-unquote state level, prefecture level. I believe it's at least 16, 17. Much like it is here in the States for most states.
In the US is pretty universally 18.
Yeah. So yeah, he said the age of consent it shouldn't exist. Instead, there should be a test to see how prepared you are for sex mentally. So essentially, he's proposing a sex license. And he specifically, in his example, he specifically mentions that a 14-year-old and a 40-year-old would be appropriate under this law, or under this proposed sex license deal that he has. So while everybody's pretty unsurprised, I don't know why this is like, oh my god, Yandere has said this. We all knew. Everybody knew.
Everybody knew this man was weird.
Man's fucking bonkers,
Man,
bro.
fucking never trust a man who just drinks milk. Now, I don't mean like chocolate milk or like a hot chocolate. Those are fine. But if you're just
No,
drinking straight
normal
up
milk.
cold milk, I don't trust you.
That calcium too
Ah.
high.
He seems like the kind of person who do like the oh yeah, the wooby milk.
Yes. In his Discord, he has texted things like, a girl's breasts are like water balloons. You poke a hole in it and milk spurts out. Which is
I
not
don't think
at all
that's
how
how
the
that
human...
works.
Yeah, that is not at all how the female breast works. And you
I
can
may
tell.
not be an
No.
anatomy major, but
But that's like
I was gonna
clear.
say something, but I feel like that's TMI.
No. Yeah.
Can we all just collectively facepalm to this man's stupidity? You
I
know, the
already
funny thing
facepalmed
is,
so many times.
I partially agree with that, but not for the reasons you think I do. I feel there should be a maturity fucking test to see if people are fucking stupid or not. Because there's
Like,
a
if
lot of
you're-
people that are
Yeah.
like 20 years old or more, like on their 20s to 30s, and they're fucking stupid. And they're acting like they're...
yeah, most of them work in politics.
Yep.
No, the thing
They
is,
have
most
some
of those
position
are
of
fucking...
power. Usually these dumbasses have some position of power because they're easily manipulated into doing the worst fucking shit, or they're just generally terrible people. It's so
It's as like I say, it's not that power corrupts. It's that power attracts the easily corruptible.
I like that phrase.
Let's see, what else is there? So we got the two sex dolls. His artist, I heard from somewhere that she had just gotten out of a abusive relationship when she started working on Yandere Simulator. So she's already very susceptible to being abused and gaslit by Yandev, right? Because there's something about being a victim of abuse that makes you susceptible to even further instances of abuse. It's not like you recognize the pattern as soon as you get out. It's a familiar pattern, so people stay with those familiar patterns so that they can predict what's going to happen next. And unfortunately for her, that's what she's stuck with. She's stuck with a gross, pedophilic, I'm going to say it, no allegedly, man, uh, who took advantage of her kindness and she just enabled it to continue. Also, there's a lot of instances of Yandev having artists work for him, not paying them, or paying them and then not crediting him. Like, there was one artist who was underage at the time, so she didn't ask for money or services. She just wanted stuff for her portfolio. When he just never credited her on the frames that she made. I believe it was for his videos. Because he spends way too much time editing videos than he does working on his game. There's like there's so much I can info dump
This
on how
at this
much.
rate, Half-Life 3 is gonna come out before that game finishes. That weird ass game.
Chimpanzees entered the Stone Age before Yandere Simulator finished.
We're gonna have flying cars before Generator finishes the game.
It's been a thing for a while.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, like,
No, I
James
never
May
did.
showed one off, and like, don't know if it was on Top Gear proper or.
I don't
or
mean the
other-
cars that have wings. I mean like the actual, like, the typical flying cars that you see in features in
The
movies.
typical sci-fi stuff that you
Yeah.
see.
Oh, those stupid ass things.
Yeah, those.
Those.
And that'll cause no problems whatsoever. I mean, we just got out of September.
What?
It's October now, so
Spooky time.
It
Spooky
is
time!
indeed spooky time.
Are
I've
y'all
already heard.
serious? It's spooky month!
I've already heard people that they're starting to put Christmas decorations in October. She's starting to defrost. Everyone, run away!
Yeah. No,
I saw someone mention that they were seeing Christmas decorations like halfway through last month.
Same.
Bruh.
During
Stay in
September,
your
I went to
fucking
go
lane,
pick up,
Santa.
I went to go pick up some stuff to make my partner's gift, and shit, there's Christmas stuff everywhere.
The only
Really?
Christmas things that should be out in October are Nightmare Before Christmas things, because they double count as Halloween.
They are back to back. It's dumb. I hate it.
like
We
a
don't even get
physical app, I
Halloween
hate
stuff
it
in like
too.
August.
It's
Honestly, it seems like, especially in the US, Santa has all the driving skills and ability to stay in your lane as your average SUV driver.
Also, not related to anything, but can you guys choose a pairing between 1 through 4?
Ooh.
Uh, 1 through 4, choose 2 numbers.
You can choose. No, I sent something in the images. Can you choose whichever combination you
Oh,
like the
okay.
best?
Hold on.
Also, I have Korok Forest playing in the background this entire time. I think it's a really nice background music.
I have my 3 hour long Gran Turismo music that I always have for the Roomba Of Thought.
Oh, okay.
I have none, but that's fine.
3.
Let me see.
I personally would say 4.
You know what 4 reminds me of? The
No.
dress.
1.
Oh no.
I actually saw someone.
The old guy.
I posted in Mina servers. I found a list of minor magic items, and one of them was basically the dress, but a D&D magic item.
Yes, it was good.
I'm never gonna find this. Okay, can I rant for a second about this? Because I've been doing
Yes.
this for nearly 3 days. So there has been an event outbreak in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet featuring not Chansey, fucking Clefairy. I'm okay. I just really like Clefairy, and I was like, okay, then I'll take an hour, maybe 2, to find a shiny Clefairy and be on my way. I've been hunting for 3 days and I've still yet to find it.
Wow.
You'll find it.
It's like I can spot the difference because I know for a fact Clefairy's ear is green compared to like brown that it is usually. But it is impossible. I do not see it. I hate it here.
You'll get it.
I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be honest with you too, because according to my friend, today's the last day.
So what's gonna happen to me is you're gonna finally find one, and it's gonna use metronome and teleport away.
That's why you save before you
Oh,
encounter
that would
it.
be horrible.
Oh, Glade of the Lake, what is your wisdom?
Me, this is why you save before you encounter the shiny Pokemon, so you can reset.
You can do that nowadays, because you can see them in the overworld that you didn't use.
I know. We'll laugh at Kane because of that.
Mao, skill issue.
Skill issue indeed.
Okay. I want to go
Anyway.
make coffee,
The thing.
but I will wait till after the Roomba
There's-
Thought. We don't have much time left, right?
No, we're probably gonna. I mean, if no one else has anything else to speak of, we can.
Yeah, this seems like a good time to wrap it up. We've been going for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything.
Yeah.
I think like
I
I
think
have
it's a good time,
one
too.
thing. We have for next week. We have the pink tax.
I mean, we might as well talk about that now.
Hold on. The latest long stream that I did. My rant about the random gifts. Memories of the first game you ever played. The Pokemon card scalpers. And that's it. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
I picked
But-
one of them to do as the last thing for today.
How can we okay, let's talk about the Pokemon Scalpers then. Have you all heard about the collaboration between the Bango Museum and Pokemon?
No.
Okay, so there was a collaboration
I
between
have.
you should, because you're Dutch. It's in the Bango
Dutch.
It's in the Bango Museum in the Netherlands, if I recall.
Oh, it was the Van Gogh thing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did hear about this.
And there were videos posted on Twitter about, like a group of people just jumping on like these cards that you got from visiting the museum and that part of the museum and that. And then you see like going to another part of Twitter and like, okay. And then you see prices of like one of those cards for like $2,000. This is a problem. Because
Oh no.
like people have been talking about the hobby of collecting cards getting worse and worse ever since the pandemic, when people realize that these cards have valor, lo and behold, and then scalpers just buy boxes by the bunch and then sell the cards at ridiculous prices.
Yeah, that's because Logan Paul started making a cryptocurrency based on Pokemon cards.
Of course, it's fucking that guy who's caused things to go shit.
Of course. Why am I not surprised?
What? That's not even his IP property.
It is already an IP property. However, he made his own Pokemon cards, and that was the basis of it. Because he had this whole thing earlier where he started to teach kids and other people who followed him the value of his Pokemon cards. And that's when he started with Dintoink Coin, and that's when he started with Zoo Coin. That never took off, and he's denying responsibility, saying that he was also scammed. It's a whole thing. I recommend the CoffeeZilla video on it.
Oh my lord. This is awful. Because at the same time, it's also like, oh, there's limited merch. Like, you know, instead of the sunflowers, it's the sunfloras. For like, you know, a little thing to put up on your wall. To put up on your wall and shit like that. And it's like going by 4,000, not 4,000, probably $400 instead of like the 30 they would buy in the Pokemon store. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand these people. Oh hey,
Money.
quick buck! Oh fuck off, dude. Let other people enjoy their lives.
Money.
But the people who are now following Logan Paul are the people who are able to buy his bullshit crypto coins, right? Which goes back into last week's topic of crypto coins are worth fuck all now.
Thank fuck. I thought that man.
Their money, and they're like, well, Logan told me that all of this shit was worth money. Plus the scalpers that were already going to be there, who knew this had money before then. It's dumb. And I wish people would just...
Stop.
Like, I understand wanting to make money. This is not a way to make money. This is a way to make people actively avoid the product, which is a shame, because they really want that product. That's not supply and demand. Now you're just reducing the demand, because you have them all.
Wouldn't you be reducing the supply?
You'd be reducing the supply, but people don't want to buy from scalpers.
So I guess you would also be reducing the demand by that standard.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we'll leave the other topics for the next week. I'll just put the topics...
Next week I'm going to make fun of a kid if I know for sure that he's going to be kicked out of the school program.
What?
I'm going to bully a child.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I mean, I can
Okay,
explain it
did you
now.
chose
It's very
fire?
quick. It's just like,
Elements
goddamn.
today.
Yeah, you can explain it while I prepare things for the next stream, for the next
Okay.
Roomba Of Thought.
So I have a job as an art teacher at various elementary schools. I travel every day to a different school. Usually I get the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, but sometimes I get K through 12, or K through 2. Right? So I get kindergarten, 1st graders, and 2nd graders. There's this child. He's very tiny. He's like, couldn't be more than 3 years old, honestly. He looks like it. He's so tiny. I can't tell his age. He's nonverbal. He speaks exclusively Spanish. And he has this habit of licking the markers. So I have to go like, no, as soon as you come in, you don't eat those. And eventually I'll have to call my supervisor. I'm like, hey, this student keeps eating the markers. What should I do? He's like, I'll go pick him up. He's just really little. So he'll do that. And he's a little bit of a wild child. And then I get his older siblings later. And one day I had his older siblings because they're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade bracket. So I have his siblings, and then I'm finished up the class and I start leaving. And I see my supervisor with the child, and he's just like, go back inside. And I'm like, hey, did the water mains break again? Because the school had some problems with their water. They had shut it down for the first half of our after school program. And he's just like, no, it's piss. I'm like, oh, lovely. He's like, don't look over here. And so naturally,
I look over there.
The specific flavor of neurospicy that I am, I look.
Neurospicy.
Yeah, I'm neurospicy. I just don't know what it is.
I'm built wrong. I don't know how, but I know I am.
Yeah, I feel wrong, but my doctor said I'm not allowed to get tested. So, here I am.
What?
He said it would ruin my life because I've already finished college and I didn't get pulled out for it in elementary school, so obviously I don't have anything. Right? And so I look, and it's just a pile of shit on the floor. He's like, I told you not to look at it.
Oh,
like,
so that's the thing they wanted to talk about. That is funny. Cool.
Funny
Okay.
to me. And I'm like, listen, you told me not to look, and I trusted you, but I couldn't help it. And he's just like, yeah, this isn't the first time he's done this. I know who did it.
This is
Like, this is not the first time.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god. Children,
And so
everyone.
Children, oh my god.
They are a menace.
They're a menace to society, and we need them, and that's the fucked part. And so I'm just like, damn. So what's gonna happen now? He's like, I've already talked to the mom about it. He just, allegedly, this child just pulls down his pants in public and just does it. He does not give. He gives a shit, obviously, but
He gives a
gives the
literal
public a
shit.
Honestly, given that my favorite ancient Greek philosopher is Diogenes, I kind of have to give the kids some props. Not giving a shit while giving a shit.
He is giving
But at the same time,
the funniest part in this conversation is just like my supervisor and I were walking away. The where we saw this, like they had the cone, right, of do not walk over this. It was right next to the bathroom. He just needed to walk 5 feet inside the stall, and he didn't. He just did it outside of the door.
That's even funnier. And that's also even more disgusting.
It feels like it was
me-
on purpose.
that kind of reminds me of one time when I was in elementary school, which walked into the bathroom that's like the recess bathroom. Like, oh, that's a turd in the urinal. That's not supposed to be there.
That's not supposed to be there. Oh, I remember, now I guess we're talking about poop stories. I remember...
It's like the time I found a pair of underpants in the lost and found.
Okay. But yeah, it was a while back, and by a while back I mean 3 years ago. They had to close the bathrooms in the floor I was in on the class. Okay, so for a little bit of context, I used to be in a afternoon class. So, you know, it was just our classes, our division of classes. Before that was like, I think, 1st to 10th grade? I think? Or is it 6th to 10th? I don't remember exactly if it's primary and secondary or just secondary school. But by the sounds of it, one of the secondary school kids decided to smear it on the wall of the bathroom. And there was and there was also the issue that I encountered so many times. People peeing on the bathroom and like peeing on the floor. Like you have the bathroom stall itself, and then you see like a puddle around the thing. And it was like
as in like they're missing the toilet, or like they're trying to use piss in like the floor drain.
I think I want to think they missed, or like they were missing on purpose to be disgusting.
The thing with guys where they just try to piss on the floor drain?
You know the funny thing, I eventually got so tired of this. One of the days I was talking to one of the ladies of that was like in charge of cleaning the floors. I was like, hey, I'm tired of this. I cannot handle being in like these kinds of bathrooms anymore. Is there any other bathroom in the school that is actually like clean? And she's like, oh yeah, but you have to go to like the other side of the school. You have to go to where the like the people that do the hair classes go. And I'm like, okay, will do. And then I started going to that bathroom ever since. Until the end of the year. Actually, until the end of the year, no, until I had to get home because COVID happened.
Yeah.
It's a certified bro moment.
Bull, do you have any funny poop stories from
Certified
school?
bro moment.
Since we're
But
here
also,
already.
I don't understand the people who smear turds all over the walls. That implies you're touching this shit, you nasty. What the fuck?
I have no idea.
Yep. People just don't care, it seems.
They do not care.
They literally
They
give
literally
no
get shit on
shits.
their hands.
It is just fucking disgusting.
Disgusting!
Humans are indeed fucking disgusting.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so with the funny poop story out of the way, I think we're gonna end the stream for today. Yes? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end the stream. We're gonna, of course, Mina's gonna have hopefully the D&D
I'll have
later.
D&D later today.
Yes.
Yeah, I will. I just need to start chores.
Chores. Oof.
Chores.
Chorms. Oh boy.
Chore.
Whore. Oh. Oh, my OBS, that thing just crashed.
Well, at least it was at the end of the stream.
It was literally the end of the stream, but I would have wanted to, raid Octo, since he's doing a 12-hour stream. Oh, never mind, it's back.
Oh.
Okay.
It
Weird.
didn't crash.
Weird. It's just being kind of wacky. It's having
Always
a...
a switch light.
It's having a face, okay. Mom, this is not a face, I swear.
What are the dimensions of a switch light?
It's not a face, it's my life!
Edgy teenagers in the
Sorry,
2000s.
I couldn't resist.
What are you saying, Mina?
Sorry, I couldn't resist, I had to.
What
You're not
are
me
the
now, you're both.
dimensions of a switch light?
I can tell you because I have one. Let me BRB. I'll go grab a.
Yes,
actual
please. Like
fucking
in centimeters,
measuring
please,
tape.
if you don't mind.
I'm gonna make lunch, so I'm ready for PMD&D later today.
Sounds good. I will see you guys there
I am also ready for
for D&D.
E. And again, Mina, if there are things that you need to tell me that are really important to know beforehand,
have
just
the measuring
DM me,
tape.
so I'm up to date with that.
Okay, sweet.
So, better if I do it this way. For length, it is a.
From the power button to the bottom.
Oh, you want from top. You want top to bottom instead of length. You
Yes,
want.
please.
Okay. That makes it easier for me then. 9 centimeters, around 3.5 inches.
Okay, so 3.5 inches, so about 9 centimeters?
Yep, 9 centimeters on the
Okay.
dot. Actually,
9 centimeters on the dot, okay. So, I
so
think I'm
handy
good.
to have such light, ain't it?
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Just in case, the length of it from side to side is 21 centimeters, 8 inches, and a bit. A tiny bit more, like 8 inches and a third
Oh,
of an inch.
I have about 22 centimeters across.
Yeah, that should be good.
Okay, cool. I'm
Hey,
gonna show you
hope
what I'm making.
Hope that helped.
It did very much, thank you.
Let's raid. As I said, let's raid the boy Octo. Everyone, please stay for the raid. He got a. And speaking of which, before I forget, there is a new challenge, a community challenge for way more points than the last one and for way less time. So, if y'all want me to play Amnesia: The Dark Descent on stream, it is 200 and hold on, let me see the points themselves, like in general. I'll tell you in a second. Channel points. I said channel points.
Yeah.
So this is 242,688 points to play Amnesia: Dark Descent, and you have 14 days to do it. So if you want me to play spooky game, you better fucking come to the stream.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh shit.
That's
Pardon?
dinner.
I'll be ready as well, Mina.
Alright. So we'll be
In
back.
the meantime, I'm going to join the VC in Octo's place.
Good. I'll meet you guys in about an hour and 15.
Yep.
Make us enough time to start some chores and eat.
All right. Have a
Alright,
good one.
see you at
And,
an hour and 15, aka 10 p.m. Our time.
yeah, around
Yeah.
10 p.m.
I'll see you on my channel at 12. Or at 1, sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go see
Yeah,
Octo
wow.
chat. Tomorrow will be as per usual. We'll go back to Need for Speed. We are getting. I don't think we're gonna finish the game this week since we're getting to the longer runs. But for sure, I think between this week, next week, and the week after, we might probably finish the game. We're also finishing Gran Turismo 4 technically, since we are finishing, we're doing the Gran Turismo World Championship, which is like the final championship, and we are going to be reading, yes, reading Nekopara by Wednesday. There's a poll in the Discord server, as if you want me to do all the voices, or if you want the actual voices from the game, because you know the female characters all have voice acting already implanted, which is in Japanese, to be played by the actual Japanese voice actors. Fun fact: if people choose the me doing the voices, it's gonna be longer because there's an extra part of Nekopara which has no voice acting for the male part, which means that I don't get to do voices if we do that. So it would just be me reading, like me looking at the screen, and that wouldn't be very engaging. So yeah, I will. Oh, there it goes.